in about 10 minutes, we also have Kris Tuttle from SPACVest on CFVI come in a few minutes. But first, CPI. CPI came in hot, about 0.2% higher than expected. I think it was 8.3 versus 8.1%. And the month over month was 0.1% versus negative 0.1%. So, yesterday I talked about this possibility. I still believe that these numbers, if you look at it, it's mostly driven by a lagging indicator of rent, and real estate's been going down, but that's not going to be in this number yet. So I I don't know. I said, either we get a good print and we go up from this 20 DMA, or we get a bad print and then the downside's limited 0.75% next week. That was my thesis. Now the market is down big. The chances of the Fed going to 100 basis point, 100 basis points, 1% is fluctuating between 10 and 20% this morning. So the markets are pricing a little bit of a chance that that's going to happen. Most likely still going to be at 75 basis points. But now with the market down a couple percent, we have to look at our moving averages and look at the possible downsides, resistance levels, and everything else. So you can see on the SPY here, we're below the 50 DMA. And again, once again, the lows have to be in play. Actually, we got a nice cushion before we get to the lows. So you got this support here at 390 or so on the SPY would be your next support. So that's good over there. Not necessarily straight down to the lows. On the QQQ, the same thing over here. You got support at 292. But I don't know. I'm a little bit of a bull here. I would not be surprised if this rebounds fairly quickly, and if it doesn't rebound this week, we'll rebound on the Fed next week when they only do 75 basis points. So, obviously, you got to be careful when it comes into these risk events. We didn't get that big move off here from the 20 DMA to that next 200 DMA, which is what I was hoping for. So we got to worry about the downside support levels right now. But you can see UUP is up 0.9%, right? And then you can tell that's a proxy for interest rates, what people expect the Fed to do with interest rates. You can see bonds are selling off because people are expecting the Fed to do get more aggressive with quantitative tightening over here. So bonds are selling off, which is fueling that rise in UUP. So not the morning I was looking for, but honestly, I don't know. I'm not too concerned, and I do have some cash because I've been selling off CFVI the last couple of days. So maybe I can put some of that cash to work. Oh, look at that. CFVI is down now, down 3.5%. So let's go over some individual stocks, and then we'll move over into our special guest. Let's see. We got news on SEAC. We had two big catalysts yesterday. In the morning, they had a deal with Dish. And in the afternoon, they had earnings, which showed sequential growth, taking them to roughly break even. So two pretty good pieces of news. I'm in this right now. I noted a few resistance levels yesterday. You got the 20 DMA, the 50 DMA, so about 52 cents, 56 cents, and then 60 cents. Those are your three resistance levels over there. I feel good. Obviously, I don't feel good about the market, but I got in prices between 45 and 50 cents at different prices throughout the day yesterday. So we'll see what happens with SEAC. There's two stocks I put in for trade of the weeks, and actually it looks bad, but it's good because the trade of the week competition goes with the opening price for today. So Celsius down close to $100 here, down 6.5%. FREY down 3.3%. If you do think that the markets, will rebound by the time the Fed only does 0.75% next week, you could be looking at good entries here on these stocks. So Celsius, I've been talking for a long time about the $93 support. Now you have the 50 DMA rising over here. So perhaps now we're getting a correction, $100 maybe psychological level, although it hasn't proven to be a psychological barrier, $100. But between the 50 DMA and $100 or so could be an area to pick up Celsius. So I put that into a competition with Wolf Financial Spaces. FREY, the other one, the story here, Goldman Sachs getting in the party here, $19 price target, $3 billion potential deal over 5 years. A really good chart. Obviously, market's not cooperating today where you're pulled, but if this pulls back, maybe you get a bounce off $12 or so, or maybe even higher. It's acting pretty good, holding a lot of its gains right now from the past week. So those are the two picks I put in for trade of the week. Air this morning had news. So it's down now because of the market. Initially, it went up all the way to 1470. They're talking about a major customer, a new major supplier of silicon carbide semiconductors. This is a qualification order, though, okay? I think the chances are good that it's going to go into production order. I think it's at 3 to 6 months in here. You can read the press release, but I think it says 3 to 6 months to qualify it, and they expect it to go into production orders after that. I do as well. So Air, obviously, the market is going to dictate what it does today short term, but I think this is getting de-risked further for the long term. All right, just want to follow up quickly on ALTO. ALTO had a good day yesterday, got rejected at the 50 DMA with the market the way it is. I don't know that's going to go. The big stock buyback that was announced yesterday, $50 million stock buyback program. And, I think it's a profitable, PE of 5. So interesting company there, but market might not let it get past the 50 DMA. All right. So what else we got? GANX. We had a presentation on GANX last night. It's a VIP presentation. The recording is available for VIPs. Really good presentation. I can't get into the details because it is for VIPs, but there's a catalyst Saturday. So if you want to play this, you'll have to listen to the presentation and get in before Saturday, or alternatively, get in sooner and sell Friday ahead of the possible catalyst Saturday. News will probably come out Monday on this. So that's a biotech with some data coming out on Saturday. So you can head over to our VIP rooms and get the recording to that presentation that we had last night. All right, with that, I want to talk CFVI. I'll bring Kris Tuttle from SPACFest on in just a moment. CFVI vote is Thursday. Today is now Tuesday. So in about 48 hours is going to be the vote. And I've been talking about taking some off the table because I was worried about what could happen here around DSPAC. So let me bring Kris Tuttle in to talk a little bit more about that. Kris, how are you doing? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Welcome to the show. How's your morning going?
So far, so good. Another beautiful day in New York.
Yeah. All right. Great. So I know I don't know if you did a piece on CFVI. I don't know if it's published yet on your site. So we're looking forward to seeing that. If you want to give us a preview of that, but first, I'd like to hear about the mechanics behind the DSPAC process. We have a vote Thursday. We have the redemption period unlocking, or ending, which can cause the price maybe to go below 10. Why don't you fill us in on those details?
Yeah. Simply put, you have the right to redeem your shares for what's in the trust, which is $10 and a penny. The deadline for that indication, as well as tendering your shares, either electronically or physically, is 5 p.m. today. And then the vote will happen at 10 a.m. on Thursday. There's you can watch it online. I don't know what we'll see, but they need a quorum, as we saw with DWAC. If you paid attention to that, there were some problems getting enough voters in there. But they will have a vote, and if they get a quorum, the vote will be to approve. It's just getting the quorum, and they will announce the results of the vote.
What percentage? What percentage do they need to approve it?
I think they need 65%. It varies by SPAC.
65% of all of the shares, or of the quorum?
I think of all the shares.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's what I saw for DWAC, 65%. But that was to extend the deadline. I wasn't sure it's the same to merge or not.
Yeah, I mean, I have to double check if it's exactly the same, and that's of course for the SPAC shares. It doesn't have anything to do with the the Rumble shareholders. So it's just the SPAC, and they will at some point announce the redemption numbers. There can be a delay in that. They try to, usually it's pretty prompt, but we should see the vote announced, the results of the vote if they get a quorum, as well as the redemption statistics.
Okay, so my analysis, correct me if I'm wrong, is after 5 p.m. today, once people put in their, they're guaranteed to get the $10 at that point, then it brings the floor of the stock below 10 after today, right?
That is correct. In other words, you tender your shares tomorrow. If you own the stock, you can no longer tender for the $10 price. There is a little loophole where you could tender your shares by 5 p.m. and before the vote, you actually can ask to withdraw that request, which would sort of unredeem your shares. But I don't think that's going to be a big factor. But tomorrow, the shares could conceivably trade below 10.
Mm-hmm. So does that bring just the mechanics behind the scenes? Maybe you're familiar with it. I mean, does that bring in shorts? Or are they like excited about this? They're like foaming at the mouth. They're like, oh, there's no longer a $10 floor. Let me short. Is that when they jump in?
There's unfortunately every SPAC deal is unique. And shorts in some of these deals have been, it's been confounding to short some of these things, despite them being, in some cases like real pieces of junk. Just because the retail crowd, they might be a little scared off this week if the market's weak, but the retail crowd is still out there, potentially driving these shares a lot higher. And it's made a little bit more difficult to predict, how heavily shorts are willing to lean on anything because, they've got to fear, the flip side, which is, the deal goes through, there are high redemptions, you get a low float, they're caught short. That can get ugly in a hurry. So I'm not sure how bold, shorts are going to be. There are options on this stock. So you can also do things with calls and puts. That's another thing short sellers might look at, the options versus the comment. That would be my guess.
Right. Okay. Well, we're definitely headed for a period of volatility, though, it sounds like. So why don't you tell us about your piece? Is it published yet, or do you want to summarize it for us real quick?
It is published. It is, a very long piece, and I know no one likes to read. So I'll just, I'm not even going to go through the vast majority of it, but let's just talk about the, kind of the end piece here, valuation, stock conclusion. I had to back into some of these numbers, daily active, monthly actives, where the company's going to go, what the revenue potential is. The net of it all is, I see this company getting to, let's call it, 300 million potentially in revenue as a run rate. That's, let's say, 12 to 18 months from now. There is a ton of execution that's got to happen post deal to make that a reality. From a fundamental standpoint, we have no idea, by the way, what the margins and profits are going to be. So I can't even really do a real model. But, if you put a, 3-4x multiple on it, which is sort of the mid-range of these kind of companies, you get to a, I'll be generous and say, a $4 or $5 fundamental share price. So, there's plenty of downside based on the fundamentals. This is a stock that, with the elections coming and the way people feel about some of the things that are on this platform and the news flow, I mean, this thing is really going to be driven by news flow and retail. But, when you sort it all out and you really look at it as a business and the multiples and everything else, and forget about all the hype and who's doing what, you kind of get to, let's call it $4 or $5 a share in fundamental value.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I really can't disagree with that. I think the thing that would drive retail traders to buy above those prices, they're going to be like, Kris, I don't care what you say about $300 million. They're going to sign Joe Rogan within the year, and that's going to make their business triple beyond your model or something. That's what the retail would probably say.
Well, I mean, and I don't, sure, here, I'll tell you this, they could sign Joe Rogan, and that would be great. I mean, it's almost, I've almost already factored that in, but all right, maybe it's not wholly factored in, but in a couple quarters, I'll be able to do a real model with the margins and everything. And, they're going to have to pay Joe Rogan,
Right.
So, it's very exciting in terms of driving audience and content, but the flip side is, he got a rumored, 200 million on the Spotify deal over the course of it. So, he's not coming for free.
Yeah, I get that. All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much for your insight. Where can people go to learn more about your work? I mean, you do cover other specs as well, right?
Yeah, we cover the whole, we cover the waterfront in the SPAC world. Every deal's posted. We don't, and then we go deep on some of them. That's all at SPACvest.com. If you're into SPACs, you'll get, there's a free membership where you get a lot of stuff. And then obviously there's a paid membership too, if you want to go, go heavy.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Thank
All
you,
right.
Kris. Yep. All right, guys, hold on one second. I am just pinging Dan Carlson. He's supposed to be joining us. I don't see him yet over here to talk about TFFP. So let's go back to our watch list, and got a few more stocks to cover until he may or may not be joining us. So, all right, let's see. TFFP, we're waiting on. I wanted to cover the relative strength of SMSI. Very unusual. Oh, look at that. Beautiful price action last few days. Let's see if it can hold its gains here with the market the way it is today. Everyone who's in our community knows the story, and the catalyst coming up. It's above the 50 DMA over here. But, it's tough to have confidence on a day like this when the market is getting hit hard here in pre-market. So we'll have to see that, how that plays out. QUIK, by the way, where's the resistance level on that? I think it was $3 or so, that gap, like if it continues, but I don't know. Maybe 283 first and then 3. Okay, what else we got? We got QUIK. I'm still waiting on this. It's held its gains after that big news. It had 7.7 million deal up to 72 million with the Department of Defense. It's holding the 20 DMA. I did sell like maybe 50% of my trading shares, got in very early, like the first trade of the day when the news came out the other day. So I made some money on that, but still holding about 50% of my trading shares because I'm waiting for like 760 at the 50 DMA. I don't know that today is a day that it can happen with the market being down. So, that's it. We're waiting for news on Drio. XXII, again, man, a lot of this is market timing, man. These charts are going to have a tough time breaking out no matter what the news is, no matter what the catalysts are. Look at air, even with a strong catalyst, it's negative in pre-market. So you're kind of beholden to what's going on with the market right now. SEAC is still up this morning. That was 2 major catalysts yesterday, so I'm hopeful that this can buck the market trend this morning. We'll have to see. Just repeating here, GANX, something I might be looking into because of the catalyst on Saturday. And we'll see, man. I did sell all of my trading shares of CFVI early pre-market today. I still have some warrants left, so I have some cash to put to work here. Perhaps maybe some trading shares at 1137 intraday might make sense. And with that, it looks like Dan Carlson from Tailwinds Research is connecting right now to talk about TFFP. So here we go. Dan, welcome. How you doing?
Hey, hey,
Hey, looks like your
Ben.
connection.
Good. Sorry, I'm a little discombobulated. I don't know if you read my newsletter, but I'm kind of on vacation this week.
All right. Well, so sorry to bother you. Let's make it quick. TFFP, I noticed very strong price action. You can see it right there on the chart since last Thursday. And I reached out to you to say, hey, is there a reason for this? And he said, yeah, there could be a reason for this. So why don't you tell us why you think there's been strong price action here? What catalyst might be coming up?
Well, it's been long rumored that they'll get their deal closed with Union Therapeutics, and so I believe, if that deal happens, the stock's gonna go a lot higher. So this, I'm not reading too much into the action here. But okay. That being said, the other thing that sparked this rally, which is excellent news longer term, was compassionate use data out of their voriconazole trial. Actually, it's not a trial; it's a compassionate use patient. But they presented data on that in at a lung transplant conference in Paris last week. So that's probably. So I'm sorry, I'm just a little bit discombobulated. That's probably more what sparked the recent rally. But with the near-term catalyst being Union signing their deal. That
right,
data,
yeah, I do see that coinciding September 8th, that presentation. That is when the action started. This Union, what's the name of the company? Union
Therapeutics. So let's go. Let me just reset here. So the data presented last week on voriconazole was excellent. They took a patient that was having toxic side effects from voriconazole. And the whole promise of the TFF platform is to be able to deliver less drug, but more efficaciously, therefore causing less toxic side effects from a drug that might have some. So they took this patient that couldn't take voriconazole basically in a therapeutic dose due to the side effects, and they gave them a therapeutic dose, a much smaller dose, but therapeutic because of their delivery methodology, direct to the lungs. And then basically they've changed the life of this compassionate use patient. And in doing so, it verifies, it sort of justifies the whole TFF promise of delivering smaller amounts of drugs, but more efficaciously and therefore with less toxic side effects. So there's a phase 2 trial ongoing for voriconazole. It's an open label trial, so they know it's going well. They've kind of hinted at that. That data is coming sometime at the end of September, maybe first week or 2 of October. So very soon. And then they intend to partner that drug off and sell it. So I think that the compassionate use patient data is very promising for the future, not only of voriconazole, but they have a phase 2 trial going on in tacrolimus that also is open label and going well. And it sort of justifies the whole platform. So that in a, partnering these drugs off since they're pre-approval is going to take some time, et cetera. So it's probably early next year, but you can definitely see a light at the end of the tunnel in their partnering program on their internal drugs. And then you look at niclosamide, which is another drug that they passed a phase 1 in, and Union Therapeutics has an option to acquire that drug at quite nice price to TFF. And the market's been waiting for this to happen. It's the options out there. Union has yet to pick it up, but that is to reach some sort of conclusion here in September. It's quite likely that they will pick it up, and so that's the near-term catalyst that could really spark the stock.
What's the terms of that option? Do you know? Has it been disclosed?
They have disclosed it, not in great detail. It's the total plus royalties once it's in sales is $210 million plus royalties, so a lot of money. Not all of that's up front, probably less than 10 million of that's up front, and then you have milestone payments, etc., along the way to approval and post-approval payments. But it's significant.
Cool. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. Anything you want to add, or should we let you get back to vacation, Dan?
Well, I mean, my stocks have been doing quite well, and there's a lot of things coming up. I'll just touch on a couple if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So ANIX was up about 9% yesterday. They announced that they have a CAR T drug that they have in trial. They're going to be presenting that at a trial, some data from that at a trial September 28th. It's solid tumor CAR T. There has never been a successful solid tumor CAR T. If they are successful, it's going to be worth billions of dollars pretty quickly. The first patient isn't going to get you to billions, but if it works in the first patient and no one's ever had success in solid tumor CAR T before, we'll get a nice pop on that. So that could come at the end of this month. And then also very strong recently has been NVNO, ticker NVNO. And I think I've talked about that one with you before, but they are announcing a new product sometime, hopefully this month.
Oh, wow, look at that. Sure.
Yeah, so hopefully sometime this month that's going to get announced. And the neat thing about that new product is it's basically the same product with a different. It's a device that goes into your a vein in your leg. It's a vein. It's a valve replacement, and the new product will be delivered via like a stent, where you can stick a wire in a catheter in to deposit the valve, which would mean that you don't need a surgeon involved. So therefore, it just broadens the market tremendously, and that's a potentially massive market. So I think that new product will, with the success they've had of the valve already in the trial that's ongoing and in the pre-clinical trial or pre-pivotal trial, you take that same valve with the same success and then have it be implemented much easier and broaden the market. People start to extrapolate big things there, and that has $5 a share cash sitting on the books. So it's not
cool.
like it's trading at a high valuation right now. So those are 2 September catalysts I really think you should keep your eye on, besides TFF.
Very nice. I've added both of them to our watch list. Thank you for letting us know. Dan, thanks for taking some time out. Enjoy the rest of your vacation. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Ben. Sorry I was a little late.
All right. No problem. Thanks. All right, guys. So that takes us to the end of our show. Market opens in 3 minutes. Definitely, kind of upsetting to see this move today, but I am good. I am solid. I think I'm an optimist. I think things are going to work out. Don't see 1% coming next week from the Feds. And good luck, everyone. Let's continue collaborating in the rooms. Thanks. Have a great day.